Good morning, friends. I'm so glad you decided to join me to get your day started with a biblical perspective here on A Moment with Hales. If you're listening on Spotify, Podbean, Apple, if you want to hop over to YouTube, I did do a video today. Also, if you listen to me on that platform, I do have other videos that I upload into YouTube if you'd like to check it out to learn more about chickens and gardening and conspiracy theories and different things. So, today, we are going to be continuing the rest of the story series talking about Nathaniel. And I think on Friday, we're going to do a rapid fire and just wrap up all the disciples on Friday to start my new topic next week. But let's talk about Nathaniel. So Nathaniel had two different names. He was known as Nathaniel and Bartholomew. Bartholomew is referenced in 3 of the Gospels. The Gospel of John is the only one who references him as Nathaniel. Super interesting. So Bartholomew is a family designated name meaning son of Talamai, which implies that he had another name. Nathaniel means gift of God or giver of God. So he is referred to in 2 different places with a different name, which can be confusing. But he was brought to Jesus by his friend Philip, who we talked about last week. And Nathaniel's also known for being a little cynical or skeptical, which is why I think I really like him. He has a short story in scripture. This is pretty much it, the one story. The rest of the time he's referenced is just in lists. And so I just think it's kind of cool. I like him. So last week we talked about Philip, and he was sought out by Jesus. In the account, it says, the next day Jesus proposed to go to Galilee. He found Philip and said to him, "Follow me." Now, Philip was from Bethsaida, the city of Andrew and Peter. So we have the account of Jesus finding Philip and seeking him out. And then it says, Philip found Nathanael and said to him, We have found him of whom Moses is in the law and the prophets also wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Which shows that he was a little bit skeptical there. Nathaniel's response was that way because Nazareth was a small, insignificant town, and it wasn't really like a well-known to think the Messiah would come out of Nazareth seems a little bit silly. It wasn't sophisticated or glamorous. It really wasn't a place that they expected the Messiah to come from. So Nathaniel still went along with Philip and was like, okay, I'll meet your little Messiah and see, what's really going on. So this is the interaction between Jesus and Nathaniel. Jesus saw Nathanael coming to him and said, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom there is no deceit." So let's pause here. Kind of an interesting comment for Jesus to make. Different commentaries definitely have different opinions on what happened here, but one of them is that Jesus was affirming that Nathanael was a man of integrity, calling him a true Israelite, or an Israelite indeed. Jesus identified Nathanael with Jacob, the father of the Israelite nation. This links the statements all the way back to the Old Testament because Nathanael was a descendant of Jacob. And we know, if you've read the Old Testament, Jacob was a trickster. He was dishonest, he fooled people, he tricked his brother into getting his birthright, he even deceived his father into giving him his brother's blessing. He was a deceiver, he was cunning. And it ended up that the Lord got a hold of him, and his 12 sons actually led the 12 tribes of Israel. So Jacob ended up doing a 180 at the end, near the end, I guess, midpoint of his life, and he was no longer a trickster. So for Jesus to say, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, who there is no deceit," was kind of, some people say, a play on the fact that he was a descendant of Jacob. So this is Nathanael's response to him. Nathanael said to him, "How do you know me?" Jesus answered him and said, "Before Philip called you, when you were under a fig tree, I saw you." Nathanael answered him, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." So an interesting thing here. We had someone who is really skeptical. Jesus says, "You were under the fig tree, I saw you." And Nathanael instantly changes his mind that you are the Son of God and you are the King of Israel. So why? What happened there? Well, some speculate that no one knew Nathanael was there underneath the fig tree. He was the only one that knew he went there. There was no way anyone else could have known. Others say that Jesus' reference was something that Nathanael was thinking about or pondering over or thinking through, and he never actually verbally said it to anyone. So no one could have known his own thoughts besides the Son of God and obviously himself. So that could have been another reason why he was convinced right away. Jesus continued. He said to him, "Because I said to you that I saw you under the fig tree, do you believe? You will see greater things than these." He said to him, "Truly, truly, I say to you, you will see the heavens opened and the angels of God ascending and descending on the true Son of Man." So some say that Jesus' reference to the angels ascending and descending is a reference to Jacob's dream in the Old Testament of when he dreamed of the ladder opening from heaven to earth. And Nathaniel could have been pondering that under the fig tree. So he was astonished that Jesus knew that. So this was convincing to him that he was the true Messiah. Whatever happened between Nathaniel and Jesus, it turned Nathaniel around from skeptic to believer very quickly. I think it's also interesting to note that Jesus reached out to Nathaniel in a specific way that he knew would convince him that he was the Son of God. So Jesus knew not only Nathaniel's thoughts, his intimate thoughts and knowledge, but also how to reach him in a way to make him believe. So it shows Jesus has a personal understanding of Nathaniel as he does with all of us. And this is the same for us as well. Psalm 139 says, "You have searched me, O Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem it in behind and before. You lay your head upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful, too lofty for me to attain." When we read this psalm, I think we usually picture ourselves and how special we are in this moment. We apply it to us when we're reading through it. But if we turn around the perspective and think about what is this saying about God in this psalm, it says that God is omniscient. He knows all and he sees all. This attribute, what's described here in this psalm, is only one that God can hold. No other person or spirit or power can hold this characteristic. His knowledge extends into every detail of the universe, including our thoughts, our desires, and our intentions. This characteristic links God back to telling Moses in the burning bush that he was the I am. He always was, and he always will be. And this for humans is inconceivable. We're really never going to be able to comprehend how something could always be and always was. But I think that is the point. We are humans and he is God. This psalm also shows God's intimate knowledge and love for all of us individually. Friends, do you ever feel invisible, unheard, looked over, dismissed? While your feelings might be justified in a certain circumstance, you are not invisible, you are not unheard, overlooked, or dismissed by the God of the universe, the one who always has been and always will be. You're seen, you're heard, you're valued, and you're invited into a relationship with him. Despite how you might feel, God is always there. And while this is an encouraging thing to know that the God of the universe cares so much about us that he wants to know our intricate thoughts and frustrations and struggles, it's also kind of convicting because he knows our own intentions. We can't conceal our intentions or our motivations from him, even if we don't know what they are. 1 Samuel says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. For the Lord does not look at the things the people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Proverbs 21 says, "Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts." Jesus' knowledge of Nathanael's innermost thoughts convinced him that Jesus was the Messiah. His faith was established due to God's knowledge or due to Jesus' knowledge of him. God knows you, friends. He sees you, he hears you, and he's available to you, even when you might feel forgotten, overlooked, or dismissed. He knows your thoughts and your frustrations, even when they might be concealed to everybody else. You can bring it all to him in prayer because he already knows your thoughts anyways. Nathaniel was also mentioned in Acts chapter 1 at the beginning. It said, "Then the apostles returned to Jerusalem from the hill called the Mount of Olives, a Sabbath day's walk from the city. When they arrived, they went upstairs to the room where they were staying. Those who were present were Peter, John, James, and Andrew, Philip and Thomas, Bartholomew, and Matthew, James, son of Alphaeus, and Simon the Zealot, and Judas, the son of James. They all joined together constantly in prayer, along with the woman Mary and the mother of Jesus, and with all his brothers." So we know he was involved at the church, beginning of the church, I guess, in Acts. And while the exact circumstances of Nathanael's death are debated, some traditions suggest that he was crucified, others say he was tied in a sack and thrown into the sea. So the skeptic went from being very skeptical and cynical to the believer because of Jesus's intimate knowledge of him. And I just think that's a really good reminder for us, friends. Jesus has that intimate knowledge of all of us, and we can rest assured and be at peace in the fact that he knows our innermost needs and desires more than we do. So let's close with 3 points to reflect on today. Is there something in your life that you feel skeptical or cynical about that the Lord is using to bring you closer to him? Or has there been a skepticism in your life that when closely examined, it motivated you to grow in your faith? Do you allow your skepticism to motivate you to seek out God's truth more intentionally? Nathaniel only came to Jesus because his friend Philip wanted him to know the truth. How are you using your understanding of biblical truth to connect with others and point them to Jesus? Well, thanks for watching, friends. I hope you found encouragement in learning about Nathaniel. I do want to let you know I have 2 live garden tours. If you want an update on my garden, go ahead to my live page or playlist or whatever, and you can check them out there. I am going to try to continue that on Saturday mornings, but we'll see. I might end up just doing a regular garden tour because the quality on the live is not very good, so if someone knows how to fix that. Also, I have some updates on Big Brown and the Chicks if you want to check out my shorts, and I'll be coming out with a coffee and conspiracy that's kind of wacky coming up this month too, so keep your eyes out for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll be talking to you soon.